All right, let's dive into something really cool. We're going to break down this super clever algorithm for finding hidden groups inside, well, pretty much any network you can think of. Your friends list, the proteins in your body, you name it. It's called the Girvan Newman Algorithm, and the way it works is kind of wild. It finds the most important connections, and then it breaks them. So, let's start with a question. What could a social media network, a map of proteins in a cell, and even something like a terrorist network possibly have in common? I mean, at first glance, they seem totally unrelated, right? But the answer, well, it gets at something really fundamental about how complex systems work. They're not just random messes of connections. And that's the secret sauce right there. They all have these hidden community structures. They're not just random blobs of connections. They're made up of these smaller, tighter-knit groups. And if you can find these little pockets, these communities, that's the key to understanding the whole network. So our goal here is something called community detection. And a great way to think about it is like looking at a satellite map of the Earth at night. You don't just see a random spray of lights, right? You see these bright, dense clusters, cities, towns. Our job is to figure out where the borders of those cities are, but for any kind of network. Okay, but here's where the Girvan Newman algorithm gets really clever and honestly, a little counterintuitive. To find what holds these groups together, it doesn't try to build walls or look for dense connections. Nope, it looks for connections to remove. Yeah, the whole strategy is what we can call bridge removal. The algorithm's job is to sniff out the busiest, most critical bridges that link different groups together. And once it finds the busiest one, it just snips it, and then it does it again. The idea is that if you remove the key bridges between communities, the communities themselves will just naturally separate. So, you're probably asking, how on earth does it know which bridge is the busiest? Well, it uses this really cool metric called edge betweenness. Basically, every single connection, every edge in the network gets a score. A high score means that edge is like a major highway. A ton of the shortest paths between all the different points in the network have to travel across it. Okay, theory is one thing, but this gets way more interesting when you see it in action. So let's walk through a super simple network and see exactly how the math plays out. All right, here's our little sample network. Now, just by looking at it, you and I can probably guess what's going on, right? You've got a little cluster on the left with A, B, and C, and another one on the right with E and F. And it looks like node D is the thing holding them together. The big question is, can the algorithm figure this out on its own without our eyeballs? So to calculate that betweenness score, the algorithm has to look at every single possible pair of nodes. We're not going to do all of them, don't worry. But let's just take one pair as an example to see how this works. How many shortest paths are there to get from node A all the way over to node D? And it turns out there isn't just one best way. There are actually two paths that are the exact same shortest length. You can go A to B to D, which is 2 hops, or you can go A to C to D, also 2 hops. It's a tie. So the algorithm has to be smart about this. So because there are two equally short paths, the algorithm splits the credit evenly. Think of it like one unit of traffic going from A to D. Half of that traffic goes along the ABD path, and the other half goes along the ACD path. So each of those edges, AB, BD, AC, and CD, gets half a point added to its score. And that's just from this one pair of nodes. Okay, now imagine doing that calculation for every single possible pair of nodes in the network. A to B, A to E, C to F, the whole shebang. For this little network, that's 15 different pairs. It's a lot to keep track of, but once the computer crunches all those numbers and adds up the scores for every single edge, you get this. And this is just perfect. Look at the scores. The edges that are clearly acting as bridges between our two little groups, like C to D and B to D, they have the highest scores. They're the major highways. But the edges that are inside a community, like E to F, super low score, because they're just local roads, not part of many long-distance trips. And there it is, clear as day. The edge connecting C and D has the top score, 4.5. The math has spoken. That right there is the single busiest, most critical bridge in this entire network. So what does the algorithm do? It has its target. It identified CD as the top bridge, and according to the rules of the game, the first thing it does is snip. It just removes that edge completely. And just like that, look what happens by cutting just that one single connection. The network splits perfectly into the two groups we saw from the start. We've got ABC over here and DEF over there. The algorithm did it. It found the hidden structure. But okay, this was a really simple example. Which brings us to the next massive question, right? In our little toy network, stopping after one cut was obvious. But what if you have a network with millions of nodes? If you just keep cutting and cutting, you'll eventually end up with nothing but millions of individual lonely dots. So, how do you know when to stop? How do you know when you found the best division? Well, there's a tool for that too. It's another score, and this one's called modularity. Here's the idea. Every time you snip an edge, you pause and you calculate the modularity of the network. This score basically answers the question, are the communities I'm seeing now actually good, well-defined communities, or does this just look random? A high modularity score tells you, yep, this is a strong community structure. So, a high modularity score means that the number of connections you have inside your communities is way, way higher than what you'd expect to see just by pure random chance. And that's the stopping rule. You keep cutting edges one by one and recalculating the modularity score. The moment that score hits its absolute maximum peak, you stop. That's your best community division. Okay, so we've gone from the big idea to the nitty-gritty math. Now let's zoom back out. From theory to reality. Why does any of this actually matter? Because this isn't just some abstract idea on a whiteboard. This stuff is used everywhere. It's how analysts find political echo chambers on social media. It's how biologists find groups of genes that all work together on a specific task. It's how companies segment their customers based on who's buying what. It can even help epidemiologists understand how a disease spreads through different social groups in a population. At the end of the day, the big takeaway is this really beautiful paradox. The algorithm teaches us that to understand what holds a community together, you don't actually look at the bonds inside it. You find the fragile bridges that connect it to the outside world, and you break them. You find what makes a group by identifying the very things that pull it apart from others. And that really just leaves us with a final thought to chew on. An algorithm like this is more than just code. It's a new way of seeing. It's a lens that lets us find the invisible structures all around us. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? In your own life, from the music you listen to the people you work with, what hidden communities are out there, quietly shaping your world?